بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we will be continuing our analysis and discussion of the surah that we were working so long and so hard to get through the historical and background analyses in order to get us to the actual surah, which is Surah Al-Fath, the 48th surah in the Mus'haf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا وَيَنْصُرَكَ اللَّهُ نَصْرًا عَزِيزًا هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights, as we discussed yesterday, some of the reasons why these events had to happen in the sequence that they happened. First and foremost, for Rasulullah's sake, so that إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا. Why? لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. So that those embarrassing things that you, to your own standards, Ya Rasulullah, that you didn't find matched your quality of worship and your duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that would not be something of consequence to you anymore, because now the road to victory for Islam is clear and there is no way for Islam to fail at this point. So there's no reason to become so ultra judgmental over your own standard any longer, because I will go and take care of those. And we mentioned, what does maghfirah even mean? So, but that was only the first of the things, that لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. Then he says وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ. What is this يُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ? You see, this story, we're going to just skim over it very quickly. This goes all the way back to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam works his whole entire life such that there can finally be a city where the believers can have a place where Tawheed can be upheld. All around Prophet Ibrahim, there's shirk, there's idolatry, there's all these kinds of different injustices, not just when it comes to the injustices against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but against humankind as well. Finally, Ibrahim alayhi salam is given a place, and he goes and makes dua for it. He says, رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا. Ya Allah, make this into a city that is secure, and for the people who are believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that eventually, over time, this city, it finally, gave way, just like how most cities do, to corruption and to degradation. But over here, it's not the degradation of architecture, it's the degradation of beliefs. And now, in the Kaaba, there are hundreds of idols. According to some historical accounts, 360 idols in and around the Kaaba. And so, وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ, that he complete his blessing upon you. This is an allusion to the final takeover of the Kaaba, that you will finally be given the city, the capital of Iman back. This was, of course, we mentioned in previous nights, the actual mission of Rasulullah, but not the mission of the believers who are with him, or even those who claim to be believers who are also with him. So this is what you. This is a second benefit. The first benefit was what, brothers and sisters? لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. Then he says وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ. Then he says وَيَهْدِيَكَ Siratan mustaqima. But here we come to a second question. Rasulullah is already perfect. He's mahsoom. He's already on Siratan mustaqim. So what is this? وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. This is not in terms of Iman. Iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already from before birth made him a prophet. As we see from the hadith, Rasulullah is reported to have said, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam, sallu alayhi bi'ala aswatikum. This is a kind of a beginning of the majlis. We're still trying to figure out, is it 7 o'clock a.m., 7 o'clock p.m. type of salawat? Let's have a 7 o'clock p.m. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now when we say وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا, or actually Allah is saying it, this is not in his Iman. Allah already has given Rasulullah Hidayah, and we said that Rasulullah has a hadith where it's reported for him that he was a prophet while Adam was still between clay and water. And so there is no doubt about whether Rasulullah is guided. And this is still the first person, this is still Mukhatab. So then how do we understand this? This is saying, still going back, ma'tuf ala ayat. This is still going and linking back to the first ayah, inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. That now that the pathway of Islam has been made clear for you all, the victory path is clear and it is straight. This is a siratan mustaqima. This is an upright, straight, and not even straight, siratan. It is tafkhim, ta'zim. This is a great path that you will see. This is leading to your victory, Ya Rasulullah. This is going to be a path, as we mentioned yesterday and the night before, where the Quraysh will come begging you, please just take the Muslims. Who in history would have thought that a small people like this, their oppressors would be coming and begging the oppressed, please come and take the captives that we had jailed with us? Who would have thought that you would be able to, with just 10,000 people, the city, by the way, Mecca, is 60,000 plus, that with 10,000 people, Rasulullah is able to just march in without taking too many lives. Like what? On your fingertips you can count the number of people in the Fath of Mecca, that Rasulullah has such a peaceful conquest of Mecca. Just a few nights ago, by the way, on the 20th of Shahr Ramadan, the night that we were commemorating the poison and the strike on Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, that was also historically the night or the day where the conquest of Mecca is supposed to have happened. Multiple things happen on the calendar date, right? The 19th, Imam Ali alayhi salam struck. The 20th, while he struck, that is the day that the Fath of Mecca happened. And on the 21st, of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen returns back to his Lord, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now, وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا, this is the third of the benefits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is simply saying that just for you, Ya Rasulullah, we gave you all of these different types of gifts. The fourth and final gift given to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is given in a separate ayah. 3 of them are given in one ayah, 1 of them is given in its own separate ayah. And that is ayah number 3, وَيَنْصُرَكَ اللَّهُ نَصْرًا عَزِيزًا. And Allah will help you. He will give you reinforcements so that you have a victory, Nasran Aziza, that is honorable, noble, respectful. And to this day, the historians, even the enemies of Islam, the Orientalists, they say that this was such a peaceful victory, the conquest of Islam. This is something that will come later on in history. Not something that they experienced right there and then at Hudaybiyah. No. This is a prediction, a forecast that this will happen to you in the future. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now that we've given the 4 benefits and the 4 gifts of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this scenario, let's now touch on what do the mu'mineen get. By the way, brothers and sisters, there is a clear dichotomy, and Hudaybiyah was the fath, it was the farq between who is a mu'min and who is a munafiq, who is a mufsid, who is a, well, not even a mufsid, a mufsiq, right? Or a fasiq, a criminal. This has already been made clear, but now this is Allah's commentary on the situation. So now when he says هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين, this is very interesting language. Usually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will go and say على قلوب المؤمنين. على is a harf jar. That means فوق شيء. It is above something. That on top of the hearts of the mu'mineen, there is this kind of sakina, like a balm. Like if you have a pain in your hand, or if you have a headache or something, and you put Bengay, you're putting it on your head, not in your head. This is something that is applied topically. It is applied on the surface. Ala mu'mineen, or ala qulub al-mu'mineen, would be what we see elsewhere in the Quran. But what do we find over here? We see fi qulub al-mu'mineen. Here you would need something like an injection. That these people, deep into their hearts, they need the sakina. And it's not for everyone. Who is given the sakina? Fi qulub al-mu'mineen. And what do those mu'mineen have that is hurting their hearts, that is paining them? That after all of this difficult trials and tribulations on the road to Hudaybiyah, we had a mu'min who was right in our grasp, who ran out of Mecca. What was his name, brothers and sisters? Abu Jandal. Abu Jandal comes all the way out from Mecca, and he's crying, and all of the hearts of everybody who was present there, they're all like, this poor person has been beaten since the time of Badr by his father, by his captors, and we finally are here right at the doorstep. We could go and take him with us to Medina. Of course, the heart of Rasulullah pains. Of course, the heart of Amir al-Mu'mineen pains. Of course, the heart of every mu'min, the true mu'min, pains for the likes of the new convert, the new mu'min. And this should be a lesson, brothers and sisters, that you have an imam too. When you go through your trials and tribulations, don't think that this is not azizan, like how Surah At-Tawbah say, azizan alayhi ma anittum. This is difficult for him to see what you go through. Bil-mu'minina ra'uf rahim. Right? This is something that was paining the believers, and so Rasulullah and the mu'mineen needed a sakina injection given to them inside their hearts. This is, by the way, the first gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to the believers. What is the second that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to the believers? We're going to see a pattern of fours. 4 gifts to Rasulullah, 4 gifts to the mu'mineen, and 4 gifts to the next category, who we'll see right after the mu'mineen. What's the first gift to the mu'mineen? أَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Then he says, لِيَزْدَادُوا إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ, so that we could increase the level of their iman on top of the iman that they already have. We already mentioned that they're mu'mineen. These are the true believers, not the riffraff who also came. One of them is looking for his red camel. One of them is cursing in the face of the mu'mineen, or I'm sorry, the kuffar. One of them is losing his patience in the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of them is doing who knows what when he goes to Mecca. He's been given one task, he goes, he's gone, he's lost. No, what we are noticing here is that Allah is specifying. This is not a gift towards everybody, and that those who had iman in this case, their iman will now be amplified. Why? Because they've seen three miracles, one after the other. One was what? When the jug was out of water and Rasulullah replenished the water over there. One was when the well was out of water and Rasulullah replenished the well. And the final one was what? Who can remind me? The third and final of the miracles that Rasulullah brought was that there was, actually I'll have to think about it again because I've forgotten all my notes from over there. So much research had to go into just the tafsir of this, so we'll have to go in. I don't want to, attribute something that wasn't a miracle when there was an actual miracle. So the second of the gifts to the believers is yazdadu imana ma'a imanihim. When they see these miracles, they needed their iman to be given a boost, and so they are given that boost. وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And to Allah belong the armies of the heavens, the skies, all of this solar system and the universe above you, all the armies in there, that all belongs to Allah. and on the planet, by the way. Why the planet? Because who are the only mu'mineen at this time? These Muslims. They are counted amongst the armies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout all of his different planets, through all of his different solar systems. These are part of his armies. Why is that important to go and mention over here? Because they were thinking, man, if only we had our weapons. We could go and show these Quraysh who's really boss. We have so much anger, so much hatred right now in our hearts. We could go and finish them. Yeah, you could, but then the victory of Islam would not be guaranteed. You would have been called by history as jazbati people. You would have been called by people emotional people. You would have been called by people bloodthirsty people. Already, by the way, the Prophet is called what? He's called a warlord. We don't want that kind of a label, being attributed to the Prophet. We want him to be known as a man of peace. So لِيَزْدَادُوا إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ, so that you can stick through thick and thin with this Prophet next time something happens. وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Yes, the armies of Allah could have taken on these kuffar, these mushriks. Yes, the angels could have come and they could have finished them off immediately. But that is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted for Rasulullah at that time. He sent him so that this treaty could be signed. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا حَكِيمًا. And the way how Allah orchestrated this event, He is wise. He's wise. He knows when He will go and take out the Meccans. He knows when exactly they should be taken out. Hakiman. He knows when it is best to go and take them out. And when it is best for you to do a treaty. Now we see another lam ta'leel. There's a lot of lam ta'leels, by the way, over here in this surah. We have to go and analyze each and every single one of them carefully. لِيُدْخِلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ. Why do we need this, brothers and sisters? Why do we need sakina put into the hearts of the believers and the believing men and the believing women? So that the believing men and the women, the third gift now is that so that they can be given paradise, so they can be entered into paradise. It is none other than Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, who says that يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ الْمَالُ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. That on that day, none of these monies and none of these awlad, none of this will benefit you. The only thing will benefit someone is a qalbin salim. Well, how are you going to have a tranquil heart if you don't have sakinata fi qulubihim? If you don't have that sakina in the face of the kuffar while they are enraging you, while, by the way, we're going to see just in 2 ayat, what are the munafiqeen feeling? There are munafiqeen, by the way, who are in there, in the midst of the mu'mineen, who are there on their trip to Hudaybiyah, and there are some munafiqeen who were left behind in Medina. And all of them are going to have this similar characteristic. We'll see what it is in just 2 or 3 ayat. Actually, 1 ayat. We see لِيُدْخِلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ. If you don't have that sakina, if you aren't at peace with what Allah wants, with what Rasulullah wants, and indeed, for all of us over here, why are we sitting over here? Why was this the theme and the topic of these lectures? Because we want to be companions of the Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asri was-Zaman. And if we don't have tranquility when He commands us to do something, if we aren't at ease and at rest and ready to do whatever it is He commands us, what is our mission? Is it to dominate the world? No. His mission is to bring peace and justice to the world. Our mission is just to earn Jannah. Just like these believers who were alongside Rasulullah. Well, you're not going to get that if Allah doesn't give you that injection, that aid of sakina. You're not going to get that unless you show that you are worthy of that. And we mentioned, even if we are not that exact generation, that will witness with our own eyes the zuhur of the Imam, then there are children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren who we will raise who need to be taught these lessons. And so this is something that's important that we have to engender to the next generations. The third, so the first one was هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين. Second was ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم. Third was ليدخل المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها. The fourth and the final one, the fourth gift given to the believers is ويكفر عنهم سيئاتهم. And so that even their evil deeds, all of that could be buried away. كفر يكفر comes from a farmer. A farmer in Arabic, one of the words for farmer is a kafir. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions kuffara nabatahu in Surah Al-Hadid. The one who buries the seed and then covers it up with dirt. Why is a kafir, by the way, in the Iman linguistics? Why, in the lingua franca of the Muslims, why is a kuffar called a kafir? Why? Because a kafir has recognized Iman. He takes that seed and he buries it deep underneath the khabith and the najas, or the najis dirt. He goes and puts kufr on top of it. He goes and puts, other stuff on top of it. He buries it deep and he ignores it. That's what a kafir is. But he understands and he recognizes what the truth is. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ, that he can go and bury away all their deeds. What were they going to go and do? What was the purpose that they thought they were going to do? Not Rasulullah. What were they going for? They were going for Umrah. When you go for Hajj or Umrah, aren't you going so that you can have all of your sins forgiven from you? Now they might have been blocked by the mushrikeen from entering into Mecca, but Allah still gave him the thawab of a completed Umrah. Didn't they go and sacrifice their animals? Didn't they go and shave their heads? This is a sign that they completed it. But who gets the actual reward of the كفر عنهم سيئاتهم? Just the mu'mineen. And that's not everybody. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. There's many things, especially in this ayah. Fine, we'll just take this ayah. There are two things mentioned in this ayah. وَلِيُدْخِلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. And the second thing is وَيُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ. But Allah doesn't say, the Arabic word that I was expecting would be ذَانِكَ with a noon. ذَانِكَ, for those of you who understand Arabic, is when you are pointing ism ishara lil ba'id for two things. You are pointing towards something that is far away, but you're referring to a duality. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He says ذَلِكَ with a lam. ذَلِكَ is singular. So which one, Ya Allah, are you pointing to? Are you pointing towards Jannah? Or are you pointing towards يُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ? Some mufassirun have said that this is one and the same thing. Some mufassirun have said it's the second. Some mufassirun have said it's the first. Whichever one you want to go with, there doesn't seem to be, at least that I could find, a rawayah from Ahlul Bayt of which one. I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to grammar, so I'm the one who goes and notices, dhalika versus dhanika. Which one is it? Not every Sahaba went and approached Imam Sadiq alayhi salam with linguistic questions. I wish they did, but inshallah, you guys know which questions I have ready for Sahabas, and that would be which ones. So regardless, now we have 4 rewards given to Rasulullah. We have now 4 rewards given to the mu'mineen. We have 4 rewards sarcastically, by the way, who are going to be given to the munafiqeen. وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ. Okay, so we already know who the mushrikeen and mushrikat are. They're already sitting over there in Makkah. Who are the munafiqeen and the munafiqat though? There are some who we will see later on in Surah Al-Fath in upcoming nights, that they will go and say, Ya Rasulullah, if only we had been there with you, we should have come with you. Yeah, we know, but it's, we had things that stopped us. Our businesses stopped us. Our families stopped us. SubhanAllah, how many of us will come with the same excuses when it comes to the 12th and final one? Ya Ibn Rasulullah, Ya Ibn Fatima, I'm sorry, could you please excuse me? My family needs me. My business needs me. There will be many opportunities once the Imam comes back. Some might seem more dangerous than others. How many of us will go and take the check-in card and cop out and say, I have a business to run, I have a family to look after, I have X, Y, and Z, I have one of my favorite excuses in Surah At-Tawbah was a person coming to Rasulullah and saying, Ya Rasulullah, give me a free pass. I don't want to come with you to the battle of Tabuk. Tabuk was where? Towards Rome. I don't want to come with you towards Tabuk because the girls over there are really pretty. And I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to stay away from fitna. So, just give me ijazah, just let me stay over here in Medina. Rasulullah's like, you know what? The likes of you, you're going to be more damaged than you are a boon. Stay. We don't need you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes, and it seems some of the other schools of thought, they come and they ask us, why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reprimanding his Rasul over here? This is not reprimanding, this is reprimanding, in the words of Ahlul Bayt, I'm talking to Rasulullah, but oh neighbor, listen up, because I'm talking to you. You might go and give a scolding to the eldest child, but the one who actually did it is the youngest child. You might Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When there's those talent shows and they give the hook, like, okay, hey, your time is up, they go and yank you off of the stage. That's what he was doing. He was coming and saying, no, you've been talking for a little too long, get off the minbar already. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, anyway, I forgot what the point that I was just talking about. I'm sorry for those who are following along on the video and who remembered what I was saying, but we're going to go back to the ayah now. وَيُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ. Those who are the munafiqeen and the munafiqat, they are tortured when they see that the mu'mineen and the mu'minat are coming back to Medina happy. Why are they coming back happy? Because they've received a surah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has eased their hearts. The sakina has entered into the qulub of the who? The mu'mineen. لِيَزْدَادُوا إِيمَانًا مَعَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. They were thinking that these Muslims are finally going to be taken care of. Instead they see Rasulullah and the actual mu'mineen, they are happy. And this, they can't stand it. The munafiqeen and the munafiqat. Who else couldn't stand to see Rasulullah taking the lower hand? Other munafiqeen and munafiqat, who we will not mention in the minbar. وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ. As well as the people who are idolatrous from the men and the women. They were the ones who had the worst of opinions about Allah. Question. In any of the nights that I was lecturing about the historical lead-up towards Hudaybiyah, did any of them have a bad opinion towards Allah? Or did they have a bad opinion towards the mu'mineen? Did they have a bad opinion towards Rasulullah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is when you have a bad opinion, number one, towards Rasulullah or any of the successors of Rasulullah, you have a bad opinion of me. Number two, when you have a bad opinion of your fellow mu'min, you have a bad opinion of me. This is something that we see in other hadith from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, from Imam Allah alayhi salam was asked by one person, how can I tell if I'm a mu'min? One of the signs that he gives, brothers and sisters, is do you annoy the believing men and women? Our fellow Shi'as, do you annoy them? He says yes. He says, do you feel bad afterwards? He says, yes, I do. I feel very bad. He says, do you repent afterwards? He says, yes, I do, and I try to never do it. He says, congratulations. Then this is what a mu'min is. A mu'min is the one who, when he sees that he has annoyed a fellow believer, he feels genuinely bad in his heart, and he tries to never go back to that practice again. He tries not to step on the toes of the believers. He tries to act his best when he's with the believers, because he knows that the status of a believer is higher than the Kaaba. He knows that the status of a believer is high with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows that he will have to pay a high penalty just for the annoyances that come in the face of a mu'min. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَلَيْهِمْ دَائِرَةُ السَّوْءِ. Upon them the circle of this bad conjecture, that will then fall upon them. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. Not only do we see that they are angry, they are being tortured by the happiness of the believers. By the way, even those people in the West, how many of you remember those Quran burners? In my community, they came straight to our masajid, and they came to the front of the masajid, and they were, the Westboro Baptist Church type of messages that God hates Muslims, etc., all these things right in front of our masjid, the masjid that we go to for Salat al-Jumu'ah. For so many years, our community, and I wonder how other communities across the US, across Canada, across the world, in the 21st century, how would they have reacted? Because I'll tell you what, our community, for years and years and years, we failed until finally we succeeded. It's okay, as long as you succeed at the end of the day, right? How did we fail? We engaged them. We gave them what they wanted. We fanned the fuels of their hatred, the flames of their hatred. We fueled it. We gave them a platform because we became reactionary. We became so knee-jerk and emotional once we saw, how dare you go and burn the Quran. Same thing happened, by the way, when Charlie Hebdo happened. How dare you go and draw our messenger. Same thing happened when, so many different things. We Muslims, as a whole community, we can't seem to have a control over our emotions. Who was it in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah who lost control of his emotions? Was it the good people who we respect, or the bad people? Shaitan isn't going to come and give you a year's notice on a bulletin board that, by the way, the test is coming next year. Here's exactly how I'm going to do the test, and then just, you're on your own then. No. He'll come at you when you least expect it, in the ways that you least expect it, and he will test you like you've never been tested before. And we failed. How do we know that we failed? With those Quran burners who came all the way from Florida, specifically to Dearborn, Michigan, to stand in front of our masajid, not the other schools of thought, not their masajid. No. When will the munafiqeen and the munafiqat become angry according to Surah al-Fath? When the mu'mineen and the mu'minat, when you see that they are happy, when they have sakina in their hearts, that's when they'll become enraged. They came to our masajid. And we failed. How do we know that we failed? Because they came back the next year. Then they came back the next year after that. And we kept on failing. We kept on getting knee-jerk reactions. We kept on becoming, as they say in Urdu, jazbati. We kept on failing until one year we just got tired of them, and we didn't give them the time of day. Nobody even knew he was in town. He came, no audience in front of him. He's alone. He's just saying by himself whatever slogans he wants to chant. And he left and he never came back again. Similarly, again, I hate to go and throw my own people under the bus, people of Dearborn, but in Dearborn we have lessons that we learned the hard way. And I want you people here in Indianapolis to learn from our mistakes. Many of you know that we have a Ramadan Suhoor festival going on in Dearborn. This is the result of the Arab festival that about a decade ago, when I was younger, of course, alhamdulillah, I'm still young, the Arab festival used to happen in Dearborn, and missionaries from the Christian religion would come and embarrass Christianity. We know that Christianity has much better to offer. We have Christian friends. But those people, they would come and they would say the most qabih and the most disgusting things about Rasulullah. They would specifically try to go and make Quran-looking Bibles, Quran-looking da'wah material for Christianity. They would specifically go and try to harass people, until finally we lost our cool so many years in a row that the police had to go and step in because there were fights happening between Muslims and Christians, and they canceled the festival. What was supposed to be a secular thing It was supposed to be just, a Ferris wheel here, some cotton candy there, some halal restaurants, showing their, their cuisine here and there, some Islamic stores, abayas and all this kind of stuff being sold. Because of some skirmishes, the police had to get involved and the entire festival was cancelled. The Ramadan Suhoor festival, however, they will go and charge a little entry fee, so that those people who are coming in, each and every single person is screened. There is hired security over there. People who are polemical, they are not invited over here. There are qurra of the Quran, there are anashid artists, there are people who will come and recite ziyarah, all these kinds of things in the Suhoor festival, while you are peacefully going in a monitored festival, so that none of these kinds of things happen again, and it's a private event. Otherwise, if it's a public event and it's city, sponsored, then everybody has access, they can all come. This had to be done. A private event had to be held because we Muslims don't know how to just, what I said yesterday, fa'fu wasfahu, go and just ignore them, turn the page, and let it go. But subhanAllah, we couldn't do that. Now that we have finally a festival, who knows how this one will continue in the annals of history. But I want you to take the lesson from us, that we couldn't control, and certain people couldn't control in Hudaybiyah. Who are you? There is an Imam of our time. When he comes and he rises, who will you be with? Who will you emulate? Who is your marja that you will do taqlid of, that you will do blind emulance of? Because we're not talking anymore about the blind taqlid and the blind emulance or emulation of our respected scholars. We're talking about historical figures. Who will you take the example of? Will you take the example of the Khulafa, or will you take the example of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Miqdad and Salman and these noble figures? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. That's the, how many now? يُعَذِّبَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَنَهُمْ. Those who say, "La'ana, this is not something that's good to do." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same people. La'ana. Here, right here. Surah Fath, ayah number 6. وَلَعَنَهُمْ. That's number 3. Number 4. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ. And Allah Himself starts preparing Jahannam for these people, the munafiqeen and the munafiqat. وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hasn't He already said about the junud as-samawati wal ard already in the previous ayahs with the Muslimin and the Muslimat and the mu'mineen and the mu'minat? Yes. But that was already in the same ayah. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will go and separate the ayah. Ayah number 6 was separate. That was 3 of the punishments, the gifts towards the munafiqeen and the munafiqat. Now the separate one. وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. You munafiqeen and munafiqat, you don't deserve to be mentioned in the same ayah as the armies of Allah in the heavens and the earth. You know why? Because the armies of the heavens and the earth are actually coming here to fight you. They're not coming here with you fighting with them. You're not even part of the armies of the skies and the earth. Those armies are coming so that they're against you. There is hikmah, brothers and sisters. Like how we mentioned yesterday, in the spelling of words, there's also hikmah when Allah decides to join Junud as-samawati wal ard into an ayah, and when He decides to separate it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we'll continue inshallah next time because we have about 5 minutes left for Maghrib and Isha. Brothers and sisters, I make the same request every single night. Please try to show up on time so that way we can start on time. And that way I have a little bit more time. There are 28 ayat, yes, or 29 ayats in Surah Fath. There are 11 sections. I have to get through all of these in the next 2 or 3 more nights. It would help if you would please respect time, respect the minbar, and show up on time. Brothers and sisters, there are many who are in the hospital. I would like to ask you again, for the relative of my in-law, the brother of my wife's grandfather, he is in critical condition. They've given him maybe a day or 2 more to live. It is through your du'as, the du'as of mu'mineen. Inshallah, we are all mu'mineen. It is through the du'as of mu'mineen, through du'as of Anni Yujib, through du'as, through Al-Fatiha, that people are saved if it is not their time. And if it is their time, then alhamdulillah. Let's recite 5 times Anni Yujib. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء 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 برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. الحمد لله.